She came back one day from a long while of rock-picking under the gnarly trees. Usually the Murkle had been fond of fall and the refreshing cool of winter, but this time it had been much too long for her taste. Even the sun seemed tired, and she had all the rocks she needed, so she decided to treat herself to a long nap. The Murkle dreamt many dreams of the mysterious moon and the critters living within its craters, and of the ocean and its deep secrets known only to the sea creatures and the corals, and of the twinkling stars that had so much to tell, but they were too far away to be heard. All of it intertwined in a colorful tapestry. And so she woke with a yawn, so big it could have devoured the sun. She had slept for just about a decade. A decent nap by Murkle standards. She smacked her dry lips, looking forward to what the new dawn had to offer as she left her lair and went out into the cool night. "Wait a minute," she exclaimed. "Night? Where was the sun? Where its warm rays should have been there was only the vast night sky, not a star on its face." "Well," the Murkle mumbled softly to herself, "winter was late, so now the sun must be late too." Proud over her sound logic, she went back to her lair to take a complimentary nap. The Murkle had taken a nap that had lasted 2 decades. Now that counts as oversleeping even by Murkle standards. She had awoken anxiously this time, feeling misplaced and confused. The confusion grew further into panic when she was greeted not by the sun's life-giving caress, but once again by the silently mocking night sky. There was one star out that night, and it glowed a cold red. "Who took the sun away?" the Murkle asked it. But it was too distant, so she could not hear its reply if it had one. The Murkle had never felt so empty and alone. Lost in quiet despair, she managed to open up to the winds and followed their gentle push south down the midnight walk and to the Darklands. Along the walk, she met the old soul fisher with whom she'd shared many a teacup in her days. "Is that the Murkle I see? Another decade, another teacup, eh?" He chuckled, but the Murkle sure wasn't in the mood to discuss teacups. "Who took the sun away, soul fisher? Surely it wasn't caught by your hook." After pondering for a good minute, the soul fisher answered, "Well, there have been whispers among the fish and corals about a loathsome, hungry Mulgrim roaming the swamps. Perhaps it knows." By the time the soul fisher looked up from under his big hat, the Murkle had already continued down the road. After a long while of following oversized snail-like tracks in the mud, trudging deeper and deeper into the mushroom-ridden swamps, the Murkle heard a harrowing howl. Up on a hill stood a looming figure, dark and still in the quiet of the night. Lo and behold, the Mulgrim, she thought to herself in slack-jawed awe. She greeted the creature with a quivering voice and, unable to restrain herself, asked, "Do you know who took the sun away?" Talking to monsters had never been any Murkle's forte, but this meeting proved spectacularly disastrous. Barely escaping the gnashing teeth of the Mulgrim, she managed to escape by jumping into a lake, following its stream away from the swamps. Although the Mulgrim was far behind her, she could still hear its melancholy howl. "Mad with grief," she mumbled, "as I will be unless I find the sun again." Tired from running, she searched for shelter and found a dark, dank cave. Cozy, even by Murkle's standards. The wind blew cold in the cave, its whispers strangely soothing to the Murkle. As it turned out, the whispering belonged to a pack of starving crawlers who had begun circling her, their language known only to the dark itself. "What are you searching for, little limb tree?" they sounded in guttural unison. "These are dark days, and your kind does not belong anymore." The Murkle gathered her courage. "I am looking for the sun. I know you crawlers eat fire for dinner. Did you eat it?" They sniffed her lantern hungrily, and instinctively, she offered its flame to them. The crawlers cackled like mad chickens. "Keep your fire, Clayling. Take it to the dark itself. Mayhaps there you shall find answers." Before the poor little Murkle could shriek, the crawlers had gone with the wind. Knowing not where to find the dark itself, everything looked pretty dark to her. The Murkle found her way back on the road, further away from home than she had ever been. The hills were looking stranger by the hour. The rocks upon them seemed to move. They were the head people, a peaceful yet grumpy sort who didn't take kindly to somebody's perusing their lands. They muttered at her as she passed them, but she couldn't make out their words. "What's that, little headlings? Are you saying you know who took the sun away?" But the heads only grunted and rolled away, back to the safety of their huts. The road went on, and the shadows grew all around her. Was this the dark itself? Not sure whether she was alone, she asked out loud, "Does anyone out here know who took the sun away?" By the side of the road lay 3 peculiar faceless and person-sized doors wrapped in muddy bandages. A stone's throw away lay some strange masks. The Murkle followed her instincts and put the masks back on. And the dolls did come to life. They began to dance a haunting dance around her, and before she knew it, she was dancing too. When it was all over, their masks fell off and they went back to lifelessness. The Murkle silently thanked the dolls for the dance and went on her way, deeper into absolute darkness. Before she knew it, the little Murkle, lost and tired, came to stand before the dark itself with a burning question clenched in her fist. She felt like punching the dark with it, screaming it out like the howling Morgrim, laughing it out like the starving crawlers who had nothing left to eat but the hope of others. Who took the sun away? It then asked the Murkle. Its voice sounded like a dark forest, deep and ancient. "It wasn't you," the Murkle retorted. "You're its complete opposite. Surely you must be the reason it's gone." The dark then replied, "I am but the absence of light, not its adversary. Light is because I am. How could I possibly hold it in my possession?" The Murkle felt her anger fade. She understood little besides one thing, that the darkness was not behind the missing sun, nor her suffering. Had her journey been for naught? Would she ever feel the rays of the sun again? Bask in their glory, pick rocks on a cloudy summer's day? The Murkle was alone in her questions, but then again she wasn't. The dark held her in a blanket of nothingness that was cold and warm at the same time. "So," she sniffed, "what do I do now?" To which the dark itself replied, "You don't have to do anything." She took an hour's nap then and there, the blink of an eye by Murkle standards, and then she began the journey back home, which seemed much shorter now than it had before. Back home on her hill, memories of the Murkle's many encounters along the way came circling back into her mind. None of her new acquaintances had been able to answer her burning question, but they hadn't been a waste of time either. She knew not if the sun would return tomorrow, in another decade, century, or never. She knew now, however, that she didn't need to know. She had the dark, and in it, anything seemed possible. So busy with her search for answers, ever since she'd left home, she'd completely forgotten to look up. The stars twinkled in the night sky, and there were so many, and they kept her good company. If only a little rock-picking Murkle could know that the seemingly tiny stars were in fact thousands upon thousands of suns. The end.